And just want to know, what is it that you would like to bring to Kicking It with Kenya?
I guess one of the topics that we can talk about is parental upbringing and the effects that it has on certain people and views that other people may have on how you were raised and what they feel you should feel about how you should feel about your parents, regardless of if they were wrong or not.
So what kind of example will we have for like?
So I was at work and I was having a discussion with one of my friends, and we were basically saying that growing up with emotional and physical or verbal abuse, it doesn't leave a good taste in your mouth, and so we don't really have good relationships with our parents. So, but another coworker of mine was saying it doesn't matter, regardless of the fact that you may have had these, terrible experiences with your parents. It doesn't matter because they fed you, they clothed you, and they put a roof over your head, and I didn't agree with that because I don't think that's love. That's kind of like saying if you're in a relationship with someone and they are providing for you, but they're beating the shit out of you at the same time, it doesn't matter because they're providing for you. It doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense for me. And we got into we almost did. We almost got into like this huge thing because I feel like just because you grew up with love, just because you grew up where your experiences weren't my experiences and you actually love your parents and you love, you feel like your parents shouldn't get any flack for anything that they have done wrong, because for me it's a lasting
Impact
on you. You know what I'm saying? Like someone calling you a bitch, constantly calling you this, you're vain, you're this, you're I can't wait, I don't want to go home. You can't have an opinion, and you gotta believe in God. It's just a lot of shit that a lot of people go through, and I feel like just because they're your parents doesn't mean
they get the
pass.
Excuse. So you're saying like even like readiness or like it's more than just providing.
It's more than just providing. I feel like just because you're providing for me doesn't mean that you love me or show that you even like me.
Yeah, you're just doing.
Right. You're doing what a parent is supposed to be doing. That's not something that...
The bare minimum. Like, I didn't ask to be here.
But I didn't ask to be
so
here.
You have to feed me, you have to clothe me, you have to do these things. Like, you just want to leave me on the wayside.
But it's basically what a parent is supposed to do. I feel like a lot of parents, oh my God, I did this, I did that, but that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to. You're supposed to, provide for the children that didn't ask to be here. And children don't ask to be abused.
No.
So you don't like the parent basically patting themselves on the back for doing what they're supposed to do as a parent.
And then others saying to you, oh, I understand that they may have verbally did this or physically did this, but,
Yeah. No, like it's dismissive.
Yes.
It's kind of like, because it's like, basically, just because you gave me food or you gave me a roof over my head doesn't mean you even prepared me for basic necessities of life. And doesn't mean you gave me the tools emotionally to even cope with anything that I dealt with. Right. So it's like, yeah, you did for me, but did you really know me, or did you really coach
but did
me?
You try?
Or did you teach me? Did you do anything else besides just give me food, clothes, and shelter?
Right.
And if you the only thing you could say is food, clothes, and shelter, then I feel like you did like a drop in the pond compared to what it's supposed to be as a parent.
Right.
You're supposed to mold this child wholeheartedly, not just give me a breadcrumb of your time.
Right.
See, but then you're getting into the conversation of what a parent's job is supposed to be, as far as like, it's more than just, I love you, I fed you, I put a roof over your head. It's also preparing them for life. It's also preparing your child for your death. and making sure that your child can succeed in this world and is prepared to deal with this world when they're not there. Is prepared to live on their own and prepared to succeed on their own, hopefully beyond what you've done. Whereas a lot of parents, some parents aren't necessarily prepared themselves when they become parents. So when you have some parents that may have a kid at the age of 16 and they don't have a job, they don't have this, and they bring a kid into this world, and when they themselves are still kids, then I'm not saying it's an excuse, but I'm just saying it happens in our communities, in our culture, in our world. We see so many of these broken homes, or so many homes where you have a woman that is not necessarily ready to be a mother from a mental standpoint, and they're not necessarily equipped with the tools to give their kid, son or daughter, what they need to survive and what they need to so they rely on the school systems, they rely on other things, or the kids get easily influenced by pop culture, by other things, and then it becomes that much of a cycle when they end up possibly having a kid, and as so
they were never taught.
Yeah, but at that point, you have to figure out what is best for your child.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You can't just and they'll use that excuse as, well, I did my best. It's not your best. That is not your. I swear, it's not your fucking best.
No, it's not. No.
I feel like one spot that a lot of parents drop the ball is that, of course, as a parent, you're supposed to provide for your child, right? But going back to Lewis's argument about not being prepared to have a child, the child don't care about material things.
Mm-hmm.
The child wants you to be there for them and to be their friend. That's where a lot of parents drop the ball. I see a lot of parents with this attitude of, "Oh, I don't have to be your friend. I'm your parent," and that's a horrible view to take with your kids. Because who is that kid gonna go to when they need something? They're not gonna come to you. They're gonna go somewhere else. They're gonna go on the internet. They're gonna go to their friends at school who also have parents doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of parents, I think, need to realize that when a kid's that young, from infancy to about age 10 or so, you need to be their best friend. You need to be there for them. They need to be able to confide in you. They need to be able to come to you when they have questions. Because otherwise, you're going to, like I said, they're going to go out in the world and try to find it, and that's the wrong place to look for it.
It is. And it's just, I feel like, even, because it's like so many points, like just, even what Luz was saying, like just preparing them for the real world. Like, for me, like, I work with kids. And it's like, even like the bare minimum things are not getting done when it comes to certain parents, like something as far as like homework. Like, that should be a priority. Like, you involved in your child's education should be a major priority, because that's one of the things that's going to prepare them for life. You cannot say that you did your job as a parent if your kid is slacking somewhere academically, especially when they get older and they don't have no financial understanding. Like, no financial understanding. Like, there are so many people, like, there's a running thing when it comes down to, like, a question, like, should your child pay rent?
I don't think so.
No, my firm belief is I don't think so.
No, that's not I don't think that's fair.
I don't think that's fair, because basically you're paying, like, I gotta pay you to live in a house. You birthed me. I didn't ask to be here. And if I'm not set up all the way,
Now, hold up.
what?
I understand what you're saying. Young kids should not be required to pay rent. After 18,
After
though.
18.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
Wait, let's take it back.
You need to teach that kid financial responsibility.
No,
Right.
that's all right. So there's a difference in teaching your kid financial responsibility or just making them pay straight up rent to help you. There's a difference.
Exactly.
There's a difference. But then
what
I'm saying is 18 to me is still too young.
Okay.
Because I'm somebody who went to college. Like, obviously, there's people out there that went to college. I went to college. I did 4 years of college where I was living in the dorm room. I come back, and there's not a guarantee you're always going to have a good job. So that 18 thing needs to stop. Because I don't understand that. Like, this.
Here's what I'm saying.
Yes.
What my parents did personally is when I turned 18, they started charging me rent. It wasn't to help them out. They were putting it away from me.
That
I didn't
makes
know that.
sense. I agree.
You feel me? So I was paying rent thinking I was just doing it to help out the house, but my parents were sacking it away from me. And one day, they were like, "Oh, so by the way," you know what I'm saying? And here's all that money you paid.
No, but see, that's teaching you financial literacy. But for me to put the money in your hand, that's what's supposed to happen. But for me to put the money in your hands to help you with, like, I mean, obviously, if you're at a certain age, you should be helping out your parents how you can, or whatever the case may be. But if you see your kid is really going through some hard times, do you think it's going to help that kid even more to make him be like, oh, now I need to take this, I need to take that, I need to like, come on. Especially like how, and then parents get fed up while you still in the house. Of
And
course,
see,
I'm
but
still in the
that's-
house
but
with
that's-
paying you, and
but
my
that's-
job is only $25,000 a year.
But that's
So what
I'm saying
apartment am I
about
getting?
abuse. I feel like that's abuse. In my opinion, I feel like that's just poor parenting. And I'm telling you, when you do these types of things to your kids, and it depends on the child as well, because everyone is different. I think parents are just not in tune with what they're saying or what they're doing. You know, it is truly mentally disturbing, and it fucks with you when you get older. And then you realize you get these parents who are like, my kids don't care about me, my kids, but you really gotta go back
To why?
what the hell did you do as a parent for your kid to be like, or to not call you, to not check up on you, to not, and I don't, I don't want to hear, oh, I know it wasn't the best, and it's not, because I'm going to tell you my situation is, I don't have a good relationship with either one of my parents, you know what I'm saying, and I don't know if I do want, my mind space, I'm at a space in my mind right now where it's like, I'm worried about what I got to worry about now. I don't have time to be worried about, you know, your issues now, or what you have, or why you're not getting along, or why you're not getting along in life, because I'm 30 years old and I don't even know what the hell I'm doing with my, but when I think about why I'm 30 years old and I don't know what the hell, I have mental issues, I have a whole bunch of issues, I always think about why, and it always stems back to my fucking parents.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, every time I think about it, it's like,
Yes.
And then when I was telling my coworker, she's like, "Oh, it doesn't matter because they're still your parents. That's your mother. That's your." I don't care. That's your father. I don't care. What does that mean to me? You know.
That emotional support was lacking.
That everything was lacking. Everything was lacking. I'm not going to say I was a perfect child, but me being a perfect child, not being a perfect child, or even just the child that you wanted me to be, stems from how you treated me. Stems from any child. Most of the time, a child, how they are, how they grow up, is how the parents. It starts at home, and I didn't agree. That's why me and my coworker, we were having this conversation, because I was just like.
I would completely agree with that. Like, you have to have some sort of, like, especially when the parent do get to a point of fed up with their kid. Like, why are you the way you are? But it's like, you need to ask yourself, what happened? What conversation? Where did you drop the ball? What conversation did you miss? Like, where, like, especially, like, I swear, I be seeing it daily with a lot of people I know. Like, they grow up, they can't move out, they can't do anything. They can't do anything because you never watched them go to school. You didn't know where your kids were. You didn't have curfews on your kids. Some of you guys didn't have the right conversations with your children. You didn't build a certain relationship with your kids. All you built was a distant one, filled with, like, you worried about working in the shelter when you're missing all the other aspects of your child's life. And now they're like 30 something years old with no purpose, no direction, no nothing in life, because you didn't, like, instill that in them. You didn't take the time to do certain things to make sure that they were going to be set up adults past your death.
But that's what I was saying. But that brings me back to Brian. You know, when he said, I had my mom, you know, say, I asked her, I said, I need a friend. I remember I was 13 years old. I said this to her. I said, I don't just need a mom, I need a friend. She told me, I'm not your friend. When she said that to me, I literally just shut down. I shut down everything. I shut down my feelings. I shut down my emotions. And to her, I became a bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Out of reaction to that. Because it was like, okay, well. And because of that, I ended up constantly, you know, trying to find friendship or someone to talk to, and through whoever I felt were my friends, you know what I'm saying? And then when that broke off, I just closed more.
You know what I'm saying? It just got worse. So it's like, I don't know. That's why this is part of the reason why I don't agree with the whole, your parents are your parents bullshit.
See, but then you have two different situations that brings up. One, much like if you're at a job and you have a manager, whereas there's a fine line between manager and friend, you know what I'm saying, as far as how they are with their workers. Kind of similar with the parents. On one hand, you can say that, but on the other hand, you have the situation where the parents may be too much of a friend to their kids to the point that they baby them and they keep them so cushioned that same result. Now they're not prepared because they never had to do anything on their own. So sometimes you have those cases where it breeds a certain mentality in the kid when they become more dependent on them as opposed to anyone else. And how they choose to react to that and how they choose to kind of go about life. Sometimes in their life they're able to succeed in certain areas because they never had to rely on anybody. So I'm not saying it's good, but sometimes that does breed a positive result in the kid because it's their mentality of I never had anyone to depend on, I only had myself, as opposed to I always depended on my parents. Now that they're not here, or now that I'm in the world on my own, I don't know what to do because I never had to do clothes, the dishes, none of this. So
but you
now
need
they
the
don't
balance. You need to learn that balance. You have to.
And that goes back to what I was saying earlier, is that your parents should be preparing you for life, which is where I talk about, like, paying for bills, paying rent. Like, I started at a young age paying bills. Like, I believe I was like 15, I started paying the water bill. You know what I'm saying? Because I wanted to contribute to the house, you know what I'm saying? My parents were great. I can't front. My childhood, I had a good childhood. You know what I'm saying? My parents were my friends. They were always busy, but they were there for me when I needed them. You know what I'm saying? So I see some of these kids, like, especially kids I went to school with, they come into school with these problems, and I'm like, it's got to be coming from the house. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be coming from the parents because there's nobody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're having problems at home, you're going to have problems in life. That's just point blank, period.
It
I
is.
agree. You know
That's honestly the parallel, like what she said when she was saying, like, even when certain relationships, I was looking for that. There's so many girls right now starting with the I was looking for line because it starts at home. Like, if you don't have a good relationship with your kid where you're able to breathe life into your child or, like, sacrifice for your child in more ways than just the shell of things, like, I feel like what she said earlier, the house and food should be the thing that you should never even bring up to your kid. Like, because my thing is, what else? Care. What was the alternative for you? They let them starve and stay out in the street.
Exactly.
You gave birth to this child, which means the mere fact that you're providing is something you should never even talk about.
Right.
Like, you should never brag about. You should never talk about doing. That is something like breathing air to a parent.
Which is why I hate fences.
Oh.
Okay? Let's talk about that nonsense.
I hate fences.
This is exactly why I hate that movie, because that's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah,
like, I don't need to be your friend, this and that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm watching this movie like, this is winning Oscars, yo? I'm like, I could go down the block and see this nonsense, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I saw that movie, I was like, nah, I'm gonna have to skip on this one.
I like the play.
The play's better, but
then that goes back to why she said then eventually, if you did see Fences, you saw how it goes. Eventually, like, you grow up and you become that kid with that distance from your parents. Because you don't want to be like, why do I want to be around somebody that berates me all the time and make me feel like a bill? Like, I tell Lewis all the time, the day I stop viewing kids as a bill is the day I will have them. Because right now, if I was to have a baby now, I don't think I would truly cherish what I had. Because all I'm going to think about is this is another bill. Because I'm not at a place, but then it's like.
But here's what you got to understand too, though.
Yeah.
When you love your child, you make it work.
You do.
Thank you.
You make it work. Because like I said before, kids, when they're born, they don't care about money. They don't care about none of that. They want their parent. Okay? As a parent, you have several responsibilities. Of course, to provide. But listen, do what you can. Do what you got to do, but make sure that kid eats. You know what I'm saying? You got to provide, but you have to be that kid's friend. And I don't mean friend as like me and Lewis are friends, even though we're like brothers. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking somebody that kid can rely on when they need you. Okay? Something crazy happened in school, they're not going to go talk to the friend, they're going to come and talk to you about it. They're having troubles at work, they're not going to go, talk to Jimmy down the block, they're going to come talk to you about it. You feel me? Like when I was having beef with one of my friends, you know what I'm saying, we was fighting, I went to my mom about it. You know what my mom told me? She said, yo, beat him up. And I was like, cool. Went to school and beat him up, because you know why? Because I confided in my mom. Might not have been the best option, but listen. You know what I'm saying?
She said what she said.
She said what she said.
She said what she said.
You know what I mean?
But it goes back, but it's like it goes back, but to bring out your point, you was like, yeah, like you have to naturally grow to know what you have to do to provide for that kid. But it's like, I feel like what I was also trying to get to was you have to have internal growth. You have to know, like for me, like I said, when I stop seeing a kid as a bill, it's the day I'm gonna have a kid. Because that means mentally and financially, I'm good. That means, all right, I'm good. I have no worries. I'm able to have a kid. A lot of people don't be thinking these things through. They don't be thinking the child thing through. They think, oh, I got a little baby bump. I'm gonna have a baby shower. I'm gonna have a baby.
That's what
but you don't think.
on.
But you
That's
don't think about the fact that
That's
this
what
kid
they
is
get
one
on.
day going to be 16.
Yep.
This is the next
This-
20 years of your life.
Forget
at
20.
least.
Yep.
It could be the next 30 if you messed up as a parent. It could
Yep.
be the next 40.
Yep.
I know there's grown men who still live with their moms in their 50s. So at the end of the day, like, you have to have that internal conversation with yourself and say, am I mentally, financially capable of having this kid? Am I going to do I have the job that
That
requires?
never happens.
But that's like, then it needs to start.
It
Because you
never
got to ask
happens.
yourself, do I have the job that requires me to be with my kid after school?
But
Do I
see-
have the job and the hours that
No.
gives
see,
me
they
that
get
It's
wrapped
time?
up
about that
on the
also.
fact-
It's about that also. You make it work. Because there's tons of people who
Yeah.
had kids, weren't expecting them, but they made it work.
But
You know
they-
why?
they had a
You know
different
why?
type of
Because they
mindset.
were adults.
Yeah.
If you're a child having a child, it's not going to work. It has worked, but you have a very good chance of failing because you don't
Yeah,
know what to do.
but I don't
When
know.
you're an adult and you realize what your responsibilities are, then you can make it
But
work.
there
But when
are
I-
adults out there that
No, that's what I'm
have
saying.
that child mentality.
Then they're
You know,
not
they're
adults.
still.
No, they're not
They're
adults.
not
So you're
adults.
saying adult sets in terms of
You
mind,
can be
not
45
urge.
years old.
You're saying
and not be
adults
adult.
in terms of mind instead of
Mhm.
age. You're saying adults is in terms of minds and
Right.
not age.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, because there are some, because I'm not going to say, because I definitely have some friends who have had kids young. And when I tell you they do the damn thing, they do the damn thing. I'll give them, I praise all day. They do it better than most 30 plus people I've seen. For them to be 16, they got that. So it's like, yes, the mind has to be right. And I feel like you, and then it's like, all right, even if you don't have that internal conversation with yourself, like, I'm ready, get ready. Like, the best thing he said in Creed was, when she said, are we ready? He looked at her and said, we got to get ready. And that's all you got to do, you got to get ready. But a lot of people don't know how to cut that get ready on. And next thing you know, they just, well, you know what I mean? Like, with my job, you know what I mean? Sometimes, well, I have to work.
Okay.
This kid, are you serious?
And
That's your
This is your
response.
kid, though.
I have to work. That's not okay.
It's not okay.
It's not okay. It's not okay because all you're doing is these are the little stepping stones. If you slack here, you slack there, you slack there, you slack there, then it turns into a big ball of mess when this kid becomes an older age and they looking at you like, but you didn't do for me. Do you know how many parents get mad at that? Because in
And
reality,
yes.
it's true.
And yes.
And you didn't want to admit it. Like with my biggest thing for me, there is no reason why. There's not an excuse you can give me as a parent why you didn't save up for your kid. Like why you didn't save while your kid was born. With everything going on, the cost of living coming up more and more and more, there's no reason why there's not a Gerber account. There's no reason why you're not stacking $5 a
Because
week.
there's a lot of
There's
people
no reason
who
why
are
you're
in
not.
their 20s and 30s that are still children.
But you have Jordans on your feet, because you
They're
can't sit there
children.
and put that money into your kid. Because as an adult, you don't know how upsetting it is when I see my counterparts, meaning people who have better lives than me. How upsetting it is when you're in college and people are like, oh, this book is $200 and they don't bat an eye. Book is $200 for me. I had to work 2 jobs. Like, because nobody saved for me. Like, nobody taught me basic financial skills. I had to figure that out. Like, my dad started getting it when he went back to school for college. Then that's when he started teaching me stuff. Because he's like, all right, because his thing was, how can I tell you about school when I didn't finish? So he went back.
Exactly.
So he went back, and that's when he learned, all right, I should have did a lot of things, and he's trying to teach me that I learned late. You should be teaching this to your kids at the age of, like, 5.
So what's the solution? I got a solution.
What's the solution?
You ever receive a gift? Oh wait, no, actually, Ender's Game. You ever see that?
Rangers game?
Ender's Game.
Ender's game, no, I didn't see
Okay,
it.
well,
Like,
they
gift
had
trash.
to they had to give
Oh,
permission.
oh.
They had to give permission to have kids. So I'm not saying
No, but I'm saying that might
saying.
happen though, because there was a talk one time when they was like they was gonna try to implement people having interviews with kids. If there is, this is my thing. This is what I'm gonna say.
background.
If
checks?
there is a way, no. If there's a way that this won't be racially used,
okay.
if there's a way that we're not gonna be like, oh, now black people not having no kids, like
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
You
still.
know that's what's going to turn
Yeah,
But
out.
that's
You
what
know
I
that's
don't.
what's gonna
That's
turn
what
But
I
then
don't.
it has to go for Jews as well. So
Yeah. That's go for everybody.
that has to go for
everybody.
everyone.
No, I'm just saying, like, it can't be like, oh, well, like, yeah, like, we're gonna use this in a systematic way to stop the population of one race. If there's a way it's just neutral interviews,
Okay.
I would be for it. I would be for Like, you know, like, don't make it like, oh, this group can't have no, like, don't do us like that, man.
Yeah. You know that's what's gonna turn into.
Well, we gotta see. If y'all got a solution, y'all can let us know. Comment below, like, share, subscribe, and tune in next time.
Peace.